Red light down here.
It's on. Selectmen's meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:07. And, okay.
Sorry.
All right, we have volunteer application form from Diane Peterson for appointment to the Insurance Advisory Committee. Any, we'll wait for Ms. Boogan to sit down. How are you?
Good.
All right. We're talking about an appointment of Diane Peterson, who volunteered to serve on the Insurance Advisory Committee. Take a motion to that effect.
I'll so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor of appointing Diane Peterson to the
Aye.
Insurance Advisory Committee?
Aye.
Aye. And then we also have Craig Gibo has volunteered, Kevin Gibo rather, has volunteered to serve on the Energy Committee. I would take a motion to the effect of appointing him.
So moved.
Second, just, who's on the committee now, Judy?
Eloise, myself, Chris Oriole, and Amy O'Day.
Quite familiar with the committee, are you? So, and then Kevin will be a fifth one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions?
He
Nope.
has a master's in sustainable engineering.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Oh, great.
All right. Any other questions or discussions? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I ask if you guys are here for a particular thing?
Cable advisory.
Cable advisory, okay. That's at 7:45.
They're actually ready to go whenever you want. because
Whenever you need.
They
Okay.
wanted 7:45 because their membership needed time to get here, but they're here.
They're here. Okay. Well, I don't think we need to keep them waiting. Go ahead.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So we're committed to come back and give you an update. And obviously, there's a lot going on in this area. Some of it completely beyond our control.
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly, a refresher: the current charter with Charter Cable expires in January of 2016. So we had a full board with 5 members, and we had embarked on a public hearing that we arranged for last year,
Mm-hmm.
where we actually have one person show up, and we recruited him to join the board.
That's why people don't show up.
And that was Bob Fodder, very, very good member. He was very disappointed he couldn't be here tonight. Rich has joined us. He's over on Gates Pond Road as well. We had been creating a web-based survey and accompanying mail survey that we were planning to send to the town to understand what their issues and concerns were. We met with Tom Cohen, who's the government affairs interface for Charter with us, and talked about the timeline from their perspective. He had a couple of comments. One, he said that they have a number of towns that have never renewed the charters. They just keep delivering the service and things like that. And as far as like, it's not things get shut off or whatever, that's more,
They just roll over the
they
existing
just roll
terms.
over the existing terms and things like that. His input was the sections, there's a lot of content in that renewal agreement. The sections that are really more than pro forma, normal language, and I'm not a lawyer, but he was saying that the ones that they would be open to negotiation or would typically negotiate have to do with funding of the town's cable access equipment and things like that, which is basically adding fees onto the monthly charter bills and putting it back in infrastructure and things to deliver a service to the town.
So they don't actually give us anything, they
No.
just let
No.
you charge your
They just
customer more.
collect it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we had had conversations with Bill Anderson with the cable access group about his plans, and I know there's been discussion about staffing and equipment and, you know, certainly technology in general and how we deliver information to the town is a broader discussion. But there's a lever there that we need to understand from the town's perspective as far as how much of the funding mechanisms of some of those initiatives should come from specifically the cable subscribers as opposed to other sources.
How many cable subscribers do we have?
You know, I apologize, I didn't bring the
Okay.
numbers.
And this applies to cable subscribers
Yes.
only, not people who have internet? Or
Exactly.
Okay.
So, the other aspects of service that Charter delivers with the phone and the internet service are not regulated by the town. Those are state and federal things. The only thing we really have a say in is the cable.
And the only bill that gets increased is the cable bill?
Exactly.
Right.
We also reached out fairly aggressively to both Verizon and Comcast about their interest in speaking with us about extending a franchise here, particularly given some of the high-density developments we have going on with, you know, down by the Rotary and Dudley
Yep.
Road and things like that. There was an emphatic no from Verizon and a no from Comcast, although, as you know, Comcast decided we were such a good deal, they went and bought, or whatever. They have the whole arrangement with Charter and Comcast switching subscribers now, which I'll get into in a moment. So anyway, we've been trying to do our due diligence on getting information on the boundaries of what we'd like out of this renewal agreement. As far as membership, we have 5 members. One of them, I think you might know, resigned, and we'll have to understand how to post that and see if we can get someone else to fill it. So I'll talk to Mary about that. You know, we also have another member who we haven't been able to contact in probably 6 months or whatever. And we would like to understand what steps we need to do to determine whether or not that's an additional opening we need to fill. Is there a process that we need to follow for that, or
Is this person still resident in town?
we can't even,
There's
we
been
don't
no
even know.
communication at all. So, I mean, we want to move on this so that we
Yeah.
can, you know, either say, look, show up or resign. If we don't
You
hear
know
from
who the
her.
person is?
Yes.
Lives in town?
Sort of over at one of the Sawyer Hill communities. There were 2 of them from that area. One of them had moved from town, and Erica was the one who resigned. Anna was also from that area, and we haven't heard from her in some time. So we need to find a way.
Well, I
to-
think we can,
Send her a letter.
yeah, just send her a letter indicating, you know,
Must be
interest,
some
and
way to
then,
reach
then removing her if we can't get in touch with her. I mean, if she shows up and is willing to serve, we can always reappoint her
Sure.
if we need to. But if you need to open up a slot so you have a participating member.
Yeah, we would sure love to
Yeah.
have her back, but I'll speak with Mary about that as well.
Okay?
Yeah, because there's obviously a lot going on. So finally, the Charter Comcast arrangement is obviously more of a national issue, and the basis of the arrangement is, and I think it's part of the Comcast Time Warner settlement, there's some exchanging of viewers, of subscribers. So 16 million Charter subscribers on the East Coast are being swapped with 16 million subscribers with Comcast and other geographies, presumably for efficiencies or something like that.
Is that a done deal?
It has to go through all the regulatory reviews at the federal level. And I think this action might be part of the addressing whatever concerns the feds had there. The town and Mary forwarded a binder along to us that was very interesting. It included giving the town an option to contest the transfer of the franchise. And again, claiming no legal expertise, the key sections to us seem to be that if the issuing authority, which would be the selectmen, determined that the only topics which can be considered by the issuing authority as far as saying we don't want to transfer would be the management experience, technical expertise, financial capability, and legal ability to operate a cable system under the existing licenses, which, yeah, I don't see exactly how we can test any of those for Comcast.
No.
In addition, and this is from the state telling us sort of the guidelines for what we need to do in this process. In addition, issuing authorities may not propose amendments to or renegotiate the terms of the existing license or any license renewal proposals. So it seems like until this exchange is closed in 6 months or so, we're not even sure exactly who to talk to at Charter as far as adjusting the terms of the current agreement and any sort of renewal. So we corresponded again with Tom Cohen of Charter Cable, and he basically had said the normal timeline they'd pursue would be, we're sort of still early in that process from their perspective. I'm not sure if, anything we negotiate with Tom at this point, I don't know.
Seems highly, possible that it's gonna be wasted effort.
That was sort of our
Yeah.
thought.
No, I
don't.
think,
Wait and see?
yeah, I think you gotta wait and see. I think the idea of getting a survey out to the town in the meantime and collating that is a good use of the time, because then you'll have some data to act on in 6 or 7 months when you can begin to act, because this is January of 2016, correct?
So it's still
Yeah.
18 months
Mhm.
away.
Yeah.
The only other aspect of this notice we got from the state was talking about the issuing authority holding a public hearing or having 120 days to contest the transfer of ownership. And
But only on the terms that you recited.
on those
Yeah.
terms.
Okay.
So
Do they have one that says customer service?
that is, it is specifically those 4 items which,
That people might actually have something
People
to
would
do,
come
yeah.
out and talk about that.
yeah, but like that was part of the intent of our public hearing when we had one early on, where it was to try to get some of those experiences so we could give Charter feedback on it. And again, as far as actual turnout, it was lower. We're hoping the survey will help us on this.
Mhm.
But if, the selectmen as the issuing authority have an interest in holding this public hearing or having us help, participate in it or whatever, we're certainly willing. I'm just not sure where to go with, we're not sure where to go with some of this.
Would that have any use if we held a hearing?
Yeah,
One thinks that unless, at least as I'm understanding it as we're talking, unless we're concerned about those narrow range of issues, which don't seem like they are really issues, it doesn't seem like we really have grounds to contest. And as I'm understanding it, the issuing authority has to hold that hearing in order to contest. If we don't test, we don't have to have the hearing.
That particular paragraph is
Governmental
in your,
pros.
more in your area, Tom. And again, I'm giving you our interpretation
Yeah.
of this. So before you make any decisions, I guess, if you guys could review it, since it's
Yeah.
ultimately your
Yeah,
decision.
yeah.
And if you feel we're misinterpreting any of this and we should be doing something different, please let us know. We're very interested in doing it.
Okay.
In the meantime, we'll work on filling out the board with our quorum and doing the public surveys and things to try to prepare for,
Yeah.
discussions when we eventually get there.
It sounds like a plan.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, Bill.
I thought you guys weren't meeting until 7:45, so I'm sorry I missed the beginning of this.
You missed more than a minute or two. We thought everybody was here.
Okay.
We weren't gonna hold them up.
I read through the document that came through, and it seemed to me that this is actually a transfer from charter to charter that's being described here, which then they say at the conclusion of which the company will immediately be sold to Comcast. And I don't see how that's in line with normal cable license transfer mechanism. Have you looked at that at all? Right, this LLC that's being formed is a charter corporation.
Mhm.
I guess I saw that as a mechanism to shape the transfer, and
But the transfer is a transfer to Comcast that we are ultimately concerned with. So
Right.
I would investigate that with,
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a look, but I will say to you, just looking at it quickly and understanding how these kind of businesses and changes are structured, that creating an LLC is what's called a special purpose vehicle, so that you can isolate the business that you are intending to transfer in that special purpose vehicle, and then transfer the ownership of the special purpose vehicle is a pretty common way to hive off a particular piece of business and transfer it. So I would view it as a through put, but using a special purpose vehicle.
but it is a two-step transfer.
It is a it is a transfer from the original owner to a special purpose vehicle that's owned by the original owner, and then the ownership of that special purpose vehicle is transferred. So yes, there are two legal transfers.
Right, so it seems to me the state needs to-
Fundamentally one economic transfer, but two legal transfers.
Right, but the corporate transfer is a specific process for that under the cable laws.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thinking it needs to be two separate transfer applications that need to be done.
Well, I mean, they filed with the FCC. I'll take a look at it, but they filed with the FCC. Oftentimes, if you're talking about something that's sort of a business reorganization within the same entity, it's not viewed as a transfer the way a transfer to another operator would. So they may ignore the transfer to the SPV in terms of approving a transfer. So I will look at
I
it.
think that's what that document there is the transfer to the special purpose business.
everything accompanying this transfer bulletin from the state was specifically this form FCC 394. All the information that accompanied the state document was Comcast, and had nothing to do with that special purpose vehicle.
Maybe I misread it then. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does say your cable will undertake certain pro forma internal restructurings. That's creating the SPV. And your cable franchisee will become CCO Transfers LLC, still remaining entirely under the ownership and control of Charter. Immediately thereafter, your cable franchisee, which is CCO Transfers LLC, will become an indirect wholly owned subsidiary of Comcast. So they hive it off into a special purpose vehicle and then they transfer the ownership of that, is what they're describing. And certainly the FCC forms seem to refer to the substantial transfer that's happening, which is the ability of Comcast to be the successor, not the ability of the LLC to be the temporary SPV, because Comcast will still, a charter rather, will still own it and operate. But yeah, we can, we'll take a look at it, but that's,
So please let us know if, if you're reading something into this that we're not, and we'll be glad to come back and
yeah, I mean, a
take
quick
some
scan,
direction.
obviously, and it's quick, seems, what you say seems to make sense.
Okay.
And we'll read it in more detail, obviously.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, yes. Any other, you guys have anything else?
No, we're, and do you have anything, Rich?
No, we're good.
Any other questions, comments? Thanks for coming in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Tom?
Yes. Abby Dewick and Pat Smith for 1870 Town Hall project update.
Barry and June are coming too.
Hmm?
Barry and June.
All right,
Can we sit up here?
you certainly may.
It's easier.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
It's a beautiful evening out there, by the way.
You guys wanna come up?
On and off,
Eddie.
on and off.
Is there a rainbow out there
We wanna be-
someplace?
I didn't see rainbow,
There
it's
should
cool
be.
air.
Yeah.
The rainbow was gorgeous.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Did you see
I-
it?
It had to be.
Yes.
I didn't see it.
And it ended in blue sky.
Oh, yeah?
It was totally cool. I gave mine early. So Barry and June wanna sit back there. I always have to belly up to the bar.
All right, absolutely.
It's just my
It
thing.
gets lonely up
Yes.
here unless you guys come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you to.
All right.
So we're sorry you didn't get the RFP. But actually, what I copied just before we came in here, knowing you didn't have it, was the copy that I went through with a few Diddley's questions
Uh-huh.
to clarify a few things that I thought you might question, or that I questioned. We have met with Dan, and this is the draft of the RFQP to be promised.
Mhm.
And we're meeting again with him on Thursday of this week, 10 o'clock, Town Hall. And he then, I think, will bring us the forms, what they require, of course, is the RFQ. Plus, there are some forms that say the same thing, but in a different format.
Right.
So, we basically wanted to go through this with you and get permission, I guess, to
Yeah.
go forward,
Mhm.
because we would like to post at the state level in
Yep.
August.
Okay.
So we should maybe start from the end, because at the end we have the timetable.
Yes.
So that's really all we need. For you to say yes to the timetable. Right?
But, you know,
There's some-
timetable, and then I
there's some
think we could
details.
go back.
Page
and-
8?
Page 8,
I just wanna make sure we have that in mind, that
yes,
this is,
where we're heading for.
right.
So, and there's one we'd like to add in that we thought needed to be there, which
Okay.
we'll talk about. We would like to post in August, and that's not there.
Okay.
And once we post in August, anyone who does wish to send in a bid for the design services has a mandatory briefing session and tour, because we think they must see the building and where it's going.
Mhm.
So we are saying that they must do that on September 4th, 2014. And then the.
Where does that fall with respect to Labor Day? Just out of curiosity?
Yeah.
Labor Day's the 1st, I
Yeah.
believe.
Oh, it is this year, okay.
Yeah, early.
Really.
Yep, all right.
And then, the response due date would be September 18th. The interviews for the architectural firms would be the week of September 29th.
Okay.
The estimated date of consultant hire would be November 17th. However, we think there should be an October 9th meeting in there to give us time to go through it. We felt that we needed to set a meeting in there.
A meeting with whom?
October 9th with the selectmen.
To review.
Right.
To review, it'll give us time.
Okay.
It's not in a meeting time, but time for us to review.
Right, so, because we need to talk about who we wanna hire.
Right, so you
There
would be
has to
through
be
the
a-
interview process at that
Right.
point and want to touch base with us
Exactly.
between the interview process and the hiring.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then the completed bid and construction documents, say we hired, would be March 2nd.
Mhm.
And these days, March 2nd, April, they're, you know, a little bit wiggly, maybe. We may not need that much time, but Dan was concerned about the Christmas vacation, the holidays, et cetera, et cetera. And then the completed, the construction bids would be due April 8th.
So you're leaving just a month between having the bid and construction documents and getting them out and having the bids back?
Yes, because we
Is that
feel
realistic? I don't know. That
That's what
seems
we're
kind
going
of
to.
tight.
That's what we're going to talk on Thursday.
Okay.
Because
Sure.
he thinks that if they do all the work, then the construction bids could come in. But we basically will have a pretty good idea of the cost
Yep.
to go to town meeting.
Okay.
But, yeah, we want to talk more about that
Mm-hmm.
on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And then the town meeting would be May.
Yep.
And then hopefully everything will go well and we break ground after July. But,
Yeah.
so given that,
Can I just say that the selectman's office is not open at 8 AM?
Oh, yeah, that page, right here.
Where it says
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, it's
Ah,
Monday through
okay.
Thursday.
yes.
Oh, yeah, right,
Here,
Thank you.
Monday through Thursday.
9 AM.
9.
If you want to say 9 AM to noon for this purpose, that would be appreciated.
Yes.
But it is 9 to 3.
Yeah.
Okay, for this purpose.
Where'd you get your information?
Dan just did it.
You can do 9 to 3.
Yeah.
Did you have an October date that you wanted? Or
October
is that- 9th isn't a regular selectmen's meeting. Do you want a special meeting? They meet the 6th.
Oh, okay, we
Um,
could make that.
So we'd meet the 6th
We
or
make
the
the 6th.
13th?
Yeah.
So Monday 6th, okay.
What'd you come up with?
Or the 14th, I guess.
So we have room to fall onto
I have
the next
vacation
one.
days, so
Right.
the 6th would be preferable.
That's fine.
I put 6.
Good.
Okay, so, would you, you want to skim it, and I could just point out just a few details?
Why don't you point out a few details,
Okay,
and if I get bored with that, I'll start to skip it.
okay, that's
All
all right.
right.
Feel free to get bored and skip. Basically, this is boilerplate RFQ that you're probably much more familiar with than I am. Requesting proposals, blah, blah, the approximate square footage. And number 2, I took issue just with the word kitchen. I want to make sure that that word is correct for what the purpose is. We don't really have a full kitchen in there. So I'm going to ask.
We know what you're talking about.
Yes,
Mhm.
you know, but I want to make sure that they don't put it the wrong word.
Yeah.
And actually, in the word, in the line before that, stage would change from to platform, just so that we keep in line. And in number 3, we were talking about, you know, when we do the addition, perhaps it would be a time to look at the replacement of the existing heating system, et cetera. But in then conversation, we don't want to do that. We want to keep the scale of the addition and the cost of it totally related to the addition. So we're going to ask that the project scope will also include the weeks taken out,
Okay.
okay?
So Keith's on board with that, we
Keith,
talked to him
yeah,
about
we
that.
talked to him
He
about
prefers
that.
to go ahead on his own track.
Yeah, because that will have to be probably.
You're good with that, Barry?
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the curatorial storage building with the temperature control and monitoring, humidity control and monitoring and security.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where is that going on your plan that you had it like kind of off on the
Yeah,
back
but
side of
these are
the building
schematic
house?
plans, but this one is the closest to show that it would be, we would not sacrifice the parking areas. It would be in this area here. Okay? And Gary, you've seen that.
Up back.
That's the one we
Yeah,
talked
back.
about.
Mhm.
Up back. That's, location is still in the air because that site plan has to be reworked.
Right.
Yes,
And therefore, the exact location will, when the parking is finally figured out,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
then that can be cited
yes.
on what's left.
Dan thought that it would be worth a small amount of money to have Ross come back and just update a little bit from what he did to get that driveway piece right and to get the parking area that the historical, the Bullet House wants on the side.
Mhm.
And then to also finalize where that would be.
Okay.
On the next page, we want to be careful that we are, in this presentation, we are an advisory committee to the selectmen. So under B, in this paragraph, with review with the advisory committee, blah, blah, it goes down to resolve with the advisory committee necessary building system upgrades. We just want to put in resolve with the selectmen and advisory committee.
Sure.
Okay. I don't want you to be reading that and say, oh, well, you know, where are we?
We're taking off without you.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe after the last 2 or 3 months, if you weren't taking off with us on a project, it might be welcome.
That's right.
Okay, the next page seemed okay to me. They say bidding services, construction services. Team, scope and services, again, under all work shall be completed in compliance with blah, blah. Numbers 1 and 2, we would insert selectmen and approval by, selectmen, approval by selectmen and the advisory committee.
Can I ask just one question
Yeah.
about the permitting before we?
Yes.
Are you guys anticipating any variances at this point? I was looking at that curatorial building. I mean, just like variances to lot line or anything. Well, this would be a
we've got
municipal use.
The thing that we've got for an interesting problem
Mhm.
is that we may have to do site plan approval. Because site plan approval is required in commercial village districts for municipal uses. And the front part of the town hall lot is interpreted as in the commercial district because of the crazy zoning in the center of town.
Okay,
So it just may be we're gonna have to do that.
okay. All right.
And what Dan also suggested is that we get ahead of that permitting process to talk to the various
Mhm.
boards so they know what we're about,
Mhm.
because we have a tight frame, so that you're not surprised. Okay. We talked about that. And then the selection criteria, and that's pretty basic, and
What page you on?
I'm on page 5. And at first, I didn't think that we actually had a formal selection process, but Barry said, well, check back on what we've got here. And back in 1997, when they were also putting on an addition, talking about an addition, the selectmen did have an approval. Here it is. What I had done was gone online and tried to find something that we could bake, borrow, or steal. And the city of Cambridge seemed to have a pretty good select process for designers in small print and much detail. But we also had this from Berlin, which was much simpler and is on record as what you did the last time that we were looking at selection process. So I asked Dan to look at that, and before I knew we had that, it's just in more words, and more updated. But we do have.
All
right, so that we're,
Okay.
just wanna make sure we're doing our due diligence.
Let's make the town hall accessible. It must be the ramp and stuff.
It was fun to know when they were talking about putting on the
The
The elevator.
That
In 97?
Yeah, 97, they
They
were going
actually-
for that grant.
wrote a grant,
Oh.
the
Mhm.
federal, the block grant,
We applied for block grant for it
Yeah.
at that time.
No.
so.
So do you want to put anything in here about working with historical buildings, or is that just kind of presumed?
Well, this one really just deals,
That has been presumed all the way along, because one of the reasons that Dan has been so helpful to us is that he is so historically,
Yeah,
Right,
adept.
but I mean, in this selection criteria,
Ah,
do you want to mention something about them having done work on
Experience.
previous historical buildings, or I don't know what the wording would be, but
mhm.
well,
I didn't see that in here.
yeah, actually, this is incredibly concise. The only part that deals with selection, really, most of this deals with notification and posting. But it says the Board of Selectmen shall review and rank the applications based on the applicant's qualifications, prior similar experience, past performance on similar projects, ability to do the work in a timely fashion, and based on an independent review by the building inspector, a member of the ADA study committee, and a member of the historical commission. The board shall provide a record of the vote on the selection, and include a written statement explaining the committee's reasons for its choice. I mean, some of that's good, but I note that none of this deals with sort of a review of the actual design details. You know, it's
Right, that
so
is
that,
much
that's
more
yeah.
detailed, yeah.
So I think it's a
So-
little too light.
Would you like us to
Combine them.
combine them? We could,
Yeah, I think, I think the idea of, we will, I think fundamentally you're assessing the project design against the specs,
right,
but then if you simply say that, we will also take into
Mhm.
consideration the things that are here,
Yeah.
because I think that's sort of totally missing
okay.
the real point, which is
Right.
to,
At least we have
which is,
something.
yeah, no,
in
it's good,
writing,
it's good,
you know.
it's
I
good,
think
yeah.
that's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll add a historical thing too, I think that's
Yes,
the point.
I put that note.
Yeah,
Okay, good, that's why we're doing this.
yeah.
So that, basically, the rest, the minimum selection criteria is just what we were talking about. And submission requirements. And this pretty much goes just along with what the design selection, design construction of public facilities requires. The completed
Yeah.
form.
I guess E here, in this on page 5 of 9,
Mhm.
E has a lot about the minimum selection criteria in terms
Right.
of capacities.
Mhm.
You may want to add something about, experience in similar projects, but they do, actually, firms shall have completed a minimum of
Oh, yeah,
5
it
projects
does say
similar
that.
in scale.
Right.
I think you
Number
have
2.
your selection criteria
Yeah.
here.
Right
Yeah.
there, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you do.
Incorporated that already
Yes,
from what we
which
sent
is
him.
why we wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you probably have them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
you're
it's
right.
there.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was there when we went over it before.
Yeah,
I would have caught that before, except I wasn't bored enough, so I
Yeah.
was coming. All right.
it's a good thing.
All right.
We're all awake.
Okay.
Someone else early.
Okay.
And so then we have these
Give your
additional
copy.
requirements.
Mhm.
And we talked about having enough hard copies in addition to the electronic, so that we could. And then again, under the general provisions, we wanted to, the advisory committee chair, that's not true, that is the chair, but I'm kind of the chair of this particular subcommittee. So we thought maybe co-chair or something, so that we could go to either one, so that we would be. So you just gotta do that. With, any clarification, also the selectmen needs to be in there.
Mhm, mhm.
I won't put that.
Okay.
Now, the bid is not just for the elevator, it's for all of this, is that correct?
The bid is for the elevator addition in the
And that,
Curatorial.
okay. Now, there's 2 plans, which
And the landscaping.
And the
one are you looking at?
The
We're
paving
looking
is
at
in that
this
too?
For this one?
Because it
Paving,
keeps
yeah.
the.
So it's the whole
5
thing.
It's for the whole thing. Yeah.
But it's so much smaller
Or-
than the
I
existing
wish
building,
we
which
could
seems to
share,
be,
like,
That is not
cool
pretty
paving.
stuck.
to scale.
environmentally
This is
friendly
what
paving.
we're
So
going
we were
to
talking about
Okay.
asphalt on the top.
Pervious
They
surface.
did,
I know, for the
he
wheelchairs
has
and
talked
stuff,
about
but
the square
have to go down
footage.
and do-
600 square feet is what it says here, is that?
It currently is 625.
Okay,
Okay,
So
So-
this talks about approximately 600
Yeah.
square
okay,
feet.
so it is the same size.
yeah.
Now, but that plan was drafted before this.
No, I understand,
Exactly.
no, I'm
Yes.
looking at,
Yes.
I'm
And
looking
that
at
is
the
simply a
words, not the
schematic.
picture.
Yep.
Yep. So it is, I just didn't know how large that was, that's all. Okay,
And you
Okay,
need 1, 2, 3, 4, you need those 5.
we could use 10, but 5 is maybe what we could do.
Is there a,
Parking spots?
well, those are the ones that will have
Yeah.
immediate handicapped
I think it's
access and stuff,
Yeah,
and you
I
think
know.
if you've got an event or whatever, you know you wanna.
yeah, under law, I was just.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're talking about, and we just kind of went through back and forth, that there would be some handicap, there might be a drop-off, so that
Drop-off,
people
yeah.
understand that, for the most part, people are gonna be coming in and dropping off.
Right.
You're not gonna have them all filled all the time,
Mhm.
but we'll modify.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
do need, I mean, for dropping off, and for even a couple of handicap,
Mhm.
you need a pretty reasonable area there.
Yes,
Well,
One
I
of the
just think
things that we-
In terms of that's beautiful area all up and through there, and it turned into a big parking lot, but I guess you have to.
I know,
it's not a big
it's,
parking
you
lot
know.
for Walter, come
Huh?
on, it's just a
It's
couple
bigger than
of-
the town hall.
it's painful.
It is,
But you know what I really wanna do, Walter, is the back area, you know, right here,
yeah,
so stunning.
yeah.
We wanna fix that up because we had another wedding
Gardens.
request today, because we already had a wedding there, right? And another
Mhm.
wedding request, they said, is there an outdoor place that we could,
Yeah.
have?" You know, it's like.
We could make that
It looks
nice.
beautiful
Mm.
in the back. We
Take
just have
them
to-
And because of the way that it goes up.
Welcome
you know,
up
it may
to
not be
powder,
efficient.
to the
Yeah.
powder house.
Yeah,
Exactly,
right, but even just
exactly.
that lower
With
part,
your
you know,
wedding
yeah,
dress
the
on.
big trees, if we just, you know,
We
On
it's-
the paving,
don't
can
own
you-
much
Can you use,
land.
No,
permeable
We're
paved
hoping that
blocks
as
and
much
stuff? I don't
as
wanna
possible.
see an asphalt
I know.
trail
I'd
going
love
up
to
between
do
the
that,
buildings
permeable.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
they would
Jeez.
buy very much like permeable.
That would just
So we'll work with the
destroy
highway
the
department.
character of it, yeah,
Yes, no, we don't wanna do that.
okay.
We just
Okay.
want
Well,
to
sort
They
of
have
nice
a
that-
number of
make
systems
this
for
work.
it.
Yes, yeah, we would definitely do that.
Good.
You know my driveway,
Huh?
you know my driveway.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
perfect.
That
My
is
dad
perfect.
has,
Perfect.
his driveway was like that, and we came from the city where everything was
Yeah.
asphalt. so.
Right.
One of the things that we found down here with the elections in this building is that we have a perfectly good accessible building coming from the parking lot in and the elevator and all that stuff. But we got a lot of old people that can't walk that far. They have to stop and rest on the way and this and that, and that's why we do the parking down back as an alternative for the people that prefer that, because they come in the back door and get into vote and back out again in a short distance. So, and that's part of the thing of trying to maximize that parking space so that we can have as many people able to use that and have an easy way and a short distance into the building. Whereas if they coming from out front anywhere, they've gotta go a longer distance as well as up.
Yep.
Even Beacon Hill has realized it has to modify
Yes, I read
its
that
curbing.
article, yeah. Yep,
looks good.
So we're
Yeah,
hoping,
very good.
we're hoping that we can keep to this timetable, which actually begins this Thursday. And we're hoping also that we can have a person, some members of the selection able to come to our meetings so that we can keep on.
and when are your meetings?
Well, we're going to be mostly during the day, probably with these people with interviewing and things. I'm hoping that you, when possible, with Judy, what,
Well, I'm coming on Thursday.
Yeah,
Excellent.
because we're also gonna talk about the grant.
Yeah.
okay.
You know, a lot of it's just sort of a consistent presence, so that
Yes.
when we are going over stuff, we're not gonna come to the selectmen every week to report.
Yep.
But if you are able to do that, or whoever,
Yes, we wanna
it
keep up
would be
on
great to just
transparent.
make sure that we're, you know,
in sync.
in sync.
Yeah.
I
Because we're
could-
going pretty fast.
I could do that, as long as it's how many times a month?
Well, we don't really have that many
We
meetings,
don't have that many
but
meetings, it's,
like this Thursday, and then probably one more time before, I don't know, he's doing all
looks
the
like
work,
the
that's why
only,
we're
the
paying
only
him.
time that we have, quite a few
Oh, is that
is
this
in
schedule?
September,
Yeah.
Okay.
because we have the mandatory briefing session, which basically we'd have to go to.
Yeah,
But
if you
the
would, because I
response due
particularly,
date-
I'm gonna be out of the country September for probably a week or two, so.
Well, we're taking 2 weeks vacation.
Now, we may have to close the
We'll
office.
we'll work around
We'll have to
You don't
figure
have
that
to
out.
do
No, I'll be
any of
here.
that.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Get something done.
It's gonna put all those
Towels
one-way
on the
signs
house.
up in
Tear
town.
those signs down.
All right,
Okay,
Right.
so Judy's on, good. All right.
okay.
So-
And that, we just needed your approval for the timetable, so,
No,
you're
that
good.
seems a reasonable,
so we're really looking to have a number to give town meeting on.
Setting goals and timetables,
Yep.
very important.
yep.
And we will report to you, well, to you on
The thing that
Thursday
we
meeting.
do have for a tight thing there is that April 8th date
Yes,
with the finance committee for
Mhm.
them to do their recommendation at
Right.
town meeting.
right.
Yeah,
So, and we mentioned that before.
yeah.
We know we're tight there,
Have
and
to give them
we'll
a
try to
heads up.
keep them informed.
Well, I go
Yes,
to the
we can.
fact meetings all the time,
No,
so
I'm talking about the finance
I
committee.
know,
Yeah.
but they'll be there too, so
Yeah.
I will. But yes,
Yeah.
and you can remind me if we don't.
Yeah.
Do you think just for the purposes of keeping everybody on the same page, should we take this around to like the planning board and the zoning board and, I mean, how do we keep these people in the loop?
I don't think
This-
that's a bad idea.
Mm.
Yeah.
This thing?
Yeah.
Well, I think after.
I mean, I think,
Heads
I
up,
I
you know.
think.
The
no, I-
timeline would be interesting.
The timeline would
Never
be
mind the
interesting,
rest.
yeah.
Yeah. they don't-
And I think you should indicate talk to them about what you need to come in and talk to them about.
Yeah,
Like the
That would
site
probably
plan.
be
yeah,
okay.
Right.
get their thoughts, like they need to know,
Do what you just did with us.
yeah.
Mhm.
Just go in and talk to them
Yeah.
and ask them.
And we'll have a, after Thursday, we'll have a little stronger document here.
Right.
So, that'll be
Okay.
fine, because I'm not doing it tomorrow.
We're not doing it tomorrow. We're meeting on
All right.
Thursday.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your support.
Thursday at 10.
I like your t-shirt, I haven't seen one of those in a while.
I know.
Joni did this, what, 14 years ago?
That's right.
I still have mine.
Yeah.
I wore mine out, and then I found this in a recycle bag.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yay. So do you wanna do me now?
Yeah, if you want to take number 8 next, because it also relates to,
Oh, sure.
but it's not the project, it's just more financial bookkeeping for
And that's
1870
the
Town Hall.
tunnel management, which is just me.
Okay,
Thanks, everybody.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you Thursday.
Thanks a lot.
Right?
If I can just
didn't know
tell you a little bit about it.
So, Pat, you talk
Already-
to Pat, because I have to.
Yeah, that,
Leanne is the manager now of the 1870 Town Hall.
Yep.
Is now taking deposits directly to the treasurer for cash turnover and reporting back to the selectman's office so that we can keep track of the spreadsheet.
okay,
But the bills are still processed here and put in front of your signature, which, that's a decision as to whether you think that you want to continue signing on, or do you want to have a certain dollar cutoff, or do you want Leanne to sign the mundane things like $4.99 charter internet bills that happen each month, and $60 and $90 Marlboro Pest Control recurring bills.
have you talked to June about this?
Yeah,
And what did June say?
it would take your vote to do whichever way you'd like to switch anything. So, right now, the bills come into town hall, and I generally open them and come up with a bill schedule for you all to sign. Leanne could do that,
Mhm.
and then track the spreadsheet directly and not have the selectman's office.
So basically, we would not have the individual votes on these things that we've
You-
been having.
That's your decision.
Well,
Yeah,
and if Leanne was going to sign them, they would just be part of the large bundle that we would be signing the cover to.
true.
Yeah.
And also, the spreadsheet that I maintain now, and she also maintains, we're creating matching spreadsheets. Maybe even triplicate, because June's keeping track of money that comes in and out of the account too. Handing
Maybe the
that-
treasurer too.
Yeah, handing that to Leanne to manage the bills getting paid, as well as the donations coming in.
Mhm.
Maybe stop the triplicate effort,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
if that's something you've,
I don't have a problem with that, and I think that, you have a lot on your plate, and my feeling is your time could be spent better, doing other things. I mean, yeah.
Leanne's more than ready, willing, and able to do it too. But also furthermore, she knows if there's been a delivery over there, then whether it should be paid or not.
Yep,
I used to do that with Keith too, on whether a municipal bill was ready to be paid, did we actually receive the services or the goods? Leanne would be in a better position to know than this office, because she's there.
Mhm. And what is her official title over there now?
Town hall manager.
Town hall manager. Okay.
And she reports
1870,
she reports to the town hall advisory committee monthly. It's a lot like the library. The executive director reports to the trustees. It's a similar model, although
Mhm.
I don't have
you report to you, so.
Who's on
I
the
don't
town
have-
hall advisory committee right now?
Right now, it's Pat Smith, myself, and Bob McTake.
Bob McKay?
McTake, yeah, the three of us.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think it's stupid that we end up every month with a $4.99 charter bill to sign off when Leanne is a manager, that's in the scope of being a manager.
Yep.
I would just think that if it's anything that is not a normal run-of-the-mill usual bill, maybe that's something that we at least wanna know about. Like if your furnace,
There hadn't been a dollar amount, but for municipal building expenses, that's how it had been. It's just that I, or Peggy before me, would just sign the schedule and submit the bill. Now Keith is gonna do that, so he can have his eyes review it, because he knows what services are coming and going to the municipal building,
Mhm.
whether,
And we will, in the bundled
be
bills
able to
every-
look
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah, be able to look through it. So do you want to characterize this as, that we would delegate review and approval of normal operating items to the town hall manager, something along those lines?
Sounds good.
Okay.
do you still want the bill schedules to come here, or you're saying not even that, right? So she can sign off on,
I think she should sign off on them. They'll be in the bundle, and if people want to look at them, they should look at them.
okay.
I mean, that's my feeling. I-
Right,
Other
just keep
people.
it, see, you're right, streamline it with everything
Okay.
else, we don't need,
All right, then.
we never scrutinize them anyway, about anything, you know, it's just.
Then I would accept of vote delegating the review and approval of normal operating expenses for the 1870 Town Hall to the 1870 Town Hall manager.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank
All
you.
right.
Keep up the good work.
What else is in here in the town hall?
I think that was it.
There is a bill
Oh,
schedule.
just number
Yeah.
5.
Number 5, yep.
Good.
What do
You
got
want
for
us, do you want to
pest?
stick around and see us vote for the Marlboro pest control bill?
What were they in there? Was it termites?
It's a regular contract, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we've had mice, we had, I gave a tour to somebody once, and they took them all around, and there was a dead mouse, and they picked it up and threw it outside before I could get to it,
Yeah,
and she then promptly booked a birthday party there.
well, sure,
Why?
It was like,
There's entertainment.
Yeah.
my kind of person.
absolutely.
She wouldn't have to
Yes.
clean up after.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one mouse that won't be at the party.
yeah.
One less mouth to feed.
Okay,
No termites, we haven't had any termites.
that's your pun for the night.
well,
That's it,
that's
that's it.
serious.
Yeah,
Great.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
All right, I guess we will resume our regularly scheduled program. And we have item 3 on the agenda, which is the approval of a Sunday ice cream license for Interstate Theaters Corp., which is the Solid Pond Cinemas.
So,
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have to give these things out? I
Yeah.
mean, it's the stupidest thing to
It
give
is.
a license for ice cream on Sunday and we get $5 a year for it.
I know.
It probably costs more.
More in labor, and but speaking of which, that is the first computer-generated license thanks to Nicole Booman. She's helping me.
Oh, all right. Wow,
Automate.
this is an historic license.
It
All right.
Yeah. So instead of paying $1 a form, it's the pennies for the piece of yellow paper and.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the point is, why don't we get rid of it? Do we have to do
It's,
this?
it's a
It's
state
state law?
law.
I don't know that you have to.
That somebody sells ice,
On the
On the
Lord's
Lord's
Day.
Day.
Mass General
Oh,
Law,
the
Chapter
Lord's Day.
136, Section
Yeah.
7.
I don't know if that mandates it though. I don't know if that just gives you the
No,
permission
no.
to do it.
We have to, I mean, we do have
It
to
is
permit it,
mandatory?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's-
I mean, you don't have to permit it, but then it's no ice cream on Sunday.
Ugh.
All right.
gotta have my ice cream.
Yeah.
We'd have to have
If you
the,
can't have ice cream on Sunday, talk to
Yeah.
Walt.
Right.
we'd have to have an undercover sting and find them selling ice cream.
Oh, man, okay. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
I was up at Kimball's in Lancaster the other day with the two little girls, and Rachel and I and Gail. I ordered my Kimball banana split. You ever have one of those?
They're huge.
I know it. People go, look at that, look at that, look at that. Eat your heart out. Now I would bring my own spoon, a big spoon, a metal one, because those little flimsy plastic ones, you know. And the guy said, boy, you know how to operate.
Did you
There,
finish
there,
it?
did you finish it?
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
Wow, I'm impressed.
I.
Were you still
What
walking?
is it the Kimball,
Yeah.
is it the Kimball
Been in a
special, the
sugar
other big
coma.
one?
Yeah, only it doesn't have the banana in it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same thing,
Yeah, same
basically.
thing, yeah. I remember the only time I finished when my toes were starting to get dull. All right, we have a request for an approval for the Run for Them Apples 5K road race on September 14th.
And it doesn't begin and end, but just passes through town.
Okay.
Tom Galvin's been in touch with her about any in-town logistics.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also remind them to take down signage too, after the race.
Okay.
See yellow signs on poles this week that weren't there. Did you see those?
Is there a road race?
I thought they must have be bikers or something that had done them, but no big
I
deal.
didn't see any.
All right, so I would move, what am I gonna move to do here?
This is the first year for this event.
Approve the Run for Them Apples 5K.
Thank you.
Mhm.
th-
You gonna second that?
Just South second that.
All right. Any further discussion?
Where did they start?
Chartner Farm?
Oh.
They start on the West Berlin Road, appear to run up to Sawyer, down the West Berlin Road to Peach, along Peach Hill Road, make a loop around Baker. Is what
Okay.
it seems to be suggesting here. Okay,
Yep.
any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll accept a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
I started to sign this, and it's you, Judy, so maybe you can make it. Sorry about
Do you
that.
want me to reprint that?
Why don't you just sign the rest of it as Judith Boomer?
Okay,
Oh.
all right.
Well, he's got the pen, he's got the ink.
All right.
That works.
All right. We have a $65 bill for Marlboro Pest Control, as we just discussed.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
There's one date, which one I don't know. Eloise just said it needed to be tweaked to be correct. So there's a date change on that warrant. I think the old and the new are both, yeah, that one that you signed is the old.
Okay. So we have to sign 4 copies
Four,
of this? All right. And it is the 28th, right?
Yes.
28th. My dad turned 100 today.
Holy
Oh, really?
smokes.
Great.
Wow. Did you do something special?
1914.
Yep. Yep, my grandmother talked about hearing the town crier in the town in Scotland where they grew up, because they lived about a block from the Market Cross, announcing that Austria had declared war on Serbia at the beginning of World War I.
Wow. Well, between you and Joni, you got some long jeans there.
Yeah, really. No, his mother looked to be 98, so.
We'll get that Boston Post cane, we'll get it out of the box. for
Yeah,
you.
really.
Well, my folks would have lived a lot longer. They got old, but they smoked themselves to death, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember buying my father a Christmas present, a package of Camels, said, carton of Camels, $3.50 or something like that, a whole carton. Here, Dad. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, there you go.
There goes another year. And they were probably unfiltered, right? Camels?
Oh, absolutely, unfiltered.
Years,
He was a camel man.
years ago, Sam and Hannah gave me a mandolin slicer, which is, you know, a way of julienning vegetables that have razor blades and two
Yeah.
planes.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And you have a guard that you can use, and it was over Labor Day weekend, and I had a large cucumber that came out of the garden. I thought, oh, you know, I'll julienne it, you know, make it that. And it was such a large cucumber that I thought I really didn't need the guard. And then Joni started talking to me, and the next thing I knew it was like zip, and I zipped off the tip of my finger, and I wouldn't go to the emergency room part of the way through Labor Day weekend because I thought I'd be there all evening. And after it was all over, they said,
found it in your
"Well, we
cucumber."
really felt badly that you hurt yourself, you know, with the mandolin slicer, and for Christmas we're going to buy you a blowtorch."
Wow.
Do we need to revote the corrected one?
Yes, having signed that, I would take a vote to issue the warrant as presented to the board this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And you can put that on top when you're done. That's just the cover. Okay, we have the approval of the CMRPC collaborative contract for fiscal year 15 heating oil, and this will require a vote to execute this agreement. And
There's a one that Walter didn't sign here.
I didn't sign one?
No.
okay. I'm looking at a couple of emails that seem to indicate
You-
different rates for this. What,
You need to decide if you want the fixed rate or the, what's it
Variable
called,
rate?
Boston something or other plus something. Remember, we tried to find out the Boston spot market rate plus margin, I can't remember what it was. I tried to find it, but they make you pay to see it.
okay. Well, let's see, what we have here is,
The emails between June and May.
Yeah.
Where she added on the additional cost to the fixed rate.
all right, do you want to explain to us what these rates are? Because I'm a little
Yeah.
confused at this point.
Here's the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So, the contract is this, it's either $3.2892 a gallon, which is the fixed rate, so $3.29,
Mm-hmm.
or based on the index plus 0.2205 per gallon.
2205.
Yes. So 22.5, well, that's not.
A little more than 22 cents above the
Yeah,
index rate.
so it's the Boston Low number 2 oil posted price, plus they're charging freight charge and markup per gallon of 22.05 cents. 22.05 a gallon. So, I think last year we took the fixed rate.
Yeah.
My personal preference is the fixed rate because I think that oil has been so, it's gonna be.
It's been very
the whole
volatile. We
Mideast
do need to
thing.
budget.
Yeah,
I would do it for my own home, I'll tell you that.
the fixed rate,
Yeah, it's fixed rate.
yeah.
Okay, and the fixed rate then for this year will be 3.29.
3.2892 a gallon.
2892. Okay.
And I believe,
How do they figure it out that much?
well, this is the Central Mass Regional Planning, it's a cooperative heating
Right.
oil bid,
Yeah, I read that, yeah.
so, and it's.
And that compares to last year was 3 point,
Well, it was just, she put that in here, didn't she?
yeah, I think it's in that one.
3.10,
Okay,
so it's gone up,
18, 19 cents.
yeah, yep. There was the last one.
Yeah.
It's also Peterson.
And last year was Peterson too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it looks like the school got 3.0997, which is through the,
Is that name of that collaborative?
I can never remember the name, it's a collaborative out west.
09.
Light,
I thought it was referenced in the email.
So that was basically 310, right about basically.
yeah, they got about what we got last year. Wright River, oh, can't remember.
Okay.
Didn't say in here, but they're always at the
All right.
school committee conference.
I would accept a vote to approve the CMRPC Collaborative Fiscal Year 15 heating oil contract
So moved.
and accept the fixed price under the contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, I'm not sure this isn't filled out.
It is not.
Which
Is this the contract that they sent you?
That is what they sent. They sent it, I think, linked to all the communities.
Okay.
If you want, I can run to the typewriter and type it in.
type one anywhere?
It's kind of like a generic contract, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hi.
When do we have to present this to them?
I don't know if there was a deadline stated or not.
Okay. Well, I guess it seems like in section 4, you would add the price per gallon that they've indicated here.
If you want, I can type it in, or?
Well, I'll write it in. You said it's 3.2892, right?
Yep.
3.2892 fixed.
They only got one bid, wow.
Okay. You have to represent this anyways, huh? Okay. If you, I'll stay at the end, you can put that in it. I signed it on the wrong line anyway, so.
Let me print out I'll print out another
No,
copy.
we can do it afterwards. Let's
Okay.
continue.
Okay.
All right, we've done these. 9, discussion of rescue squad collections. All right, what,
Walter asked for that to be agended.
okay,
Yeah, we have adequate, we've met the state bidding law.
mhm.
So we should make a decision on it.
Did you get any bids?
Yeah. Didn't we get 3 bids on that?
No, it was never put out to bid.
So we need to put it out to bid.
Yeah, well, let's get it out to bid.
Well, the decision would be how you want to proceed. I don't want to step on your toes. But the decision is how far
Yeah,
back
right.
you would go, because if it's in totality $153,000, some of it is really not collectible, according
Yeah.
to Dennis. He also says that at one point in the past, he's written off debt. I didn't know that was possible. It's at one point that was done in the past, so I don't know if there's a certain line you draw here and you say,
Yeah.
it's not collectible.
Oh, first of all, the contract price here, I believe, is the amount that we're going to pay somebody to do this, okay?
Or a percentage,
Hmm?
or percentage typically, yeah?
The contract price is what we pay them.
Yeah.
And when you're applying this rule, let me just say, if the contract price is estimated to be between $10,000 and $24,999,
Right.
the town is required to solicit 3 quotes. If the contract price is less than $10,000, you don't need to solicit 3 quotes. If it's $25,000 or more, the town is required to seek sealed bids. Okay? So therefore, when we're applying this,
Mhm.
we have to figure out how much we're going to put out for collection, 1, and 2, what percentage we're going to pay or a flat fee. It's that percentage or flat fee that we have to measure
Right.
against those,
Yeah.
okay? That's the contract price.
I can remember them talking about two methodologies. One of them is to just send out letters and be kind of a reminder and see what happens, maybe phone calls, but the other one is to really go after it in a
And I
strong
forgot,
way,
because this one's
so-
about there so long, what were they suggesting?
Well, I'm
they
just
would
saying that
pay
if,
for
there-
it?
if somebody is simply going to take the light approach to it, light-handed approach, I mean, probably wouldn't cost us so much to have them do it. I don't know how much of these,
Well, there's $62,000 here,
yeah.
and then this is a separate piece of paper that has, it says avenues exhausted, there's 25,000 in that, debtor is indigent, no income, 944, can't be located, 1,600, which comes to a total of 28,000. Bankruptcy, there's some, and duplicate, nope, the other one is bankruptcy, so the whole thing comes to 31,000.
Out of
The
how much
exclusion.
altogether?
These are the ones that are excluded.
Okay,
And then these are the ones that are still, there's one here from 2006, which someone's checked right off on. But this all comes to 62,000.
Okay. All right. And so that's what we have to collect, 62, is that what you're saying?
Well, this goes up to October 31st, 2013,
Okay,
so.
yeah, I mean.
I don't know if there's more, how much more there would be in
Mhm.
the, but yes.
62. Okay,
So the collection methodologies are, they get a percentage?
Well, I don't have, I mean, I know that there was somebody who
We never-
was willing to do it,
Yeah,
and I'd be interested to know what they were expecting.
yeah.
And then I think we need to find out what their,
Well, what's the standard way that, I guess I'd like to find out what,
there are all kinds of ways. If you really write a debt off and sign it, I mean, you get anywhere from, I would say, 30 or 60 cents to the dollar, depending upon, you know, the nature of the debts. Sometimes less.
well, I have to say, looking at these names, I think we might be better with someone from out of town.
So,
Um,
we were talking 60,000 there. How did we go
62,000.
from 150,000 down to 62?
I don't know if this is everything they have, this is just what Mary has.
Okay.
That's what Denny gave me today.
Okay.
With only, he said if you needed him, he could be reached by phone during the meeting. I just gave him a heads up last week that this was going on the agenda at your request. He handed me that information today.
I guess I think I'd like to at least hear what the person who was interested in doing it would be willing to do it for.
Mm-hmm.
I think the stuff that Mary has here is pretty accurate in terms of going out to a commercial,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or setting it to a law firm as a kind of factor. So it'd be interesting to see what they would be interested in, and then I think we need to take that fact and see where it fits on that threshold of,
Sure.
I mean, if we've got somebody who says, I will, and I'm just giving you an example, I will, you know, write 2 letters, you know, make 3 phone calls
Right.
and that,
Mhm.
and I'm going to charge you $200
Yeah.
an account, well, then that may not even reach 10,000, so.
Yeah.
And there really is quite a range in terms of people doing this. If you're hiring somebody who's gonna, like, do legal process and stuff
Yeah.
like that, that's when it starts to get
More.
more.
The
But-
court appearances, the
Yeah,
complaints.
yeah.
And
Tom,
what's-
can I just say something on this?
Sure.
I was one of the 2 people that brought in a billing company here originally.
Mhm.
When I was on the fire department, it was a company that we had in Wayland.
Mhm.
That company, they're still using, but it has been sold.
Mhm.
Since it got sold, they do not collect anywhere near the debt that the original person did.
Mhm.
The average way they do it is, they do it on a percentage basis.
Mhm.
Now, you will find that there is several of those that will just require a phone call, believe it or not. Because what it happens, and like I said, I was very involved in this when I was on the fire department in Wayland, because I started it there. It can be as simple as a middle initial missing out of a name, and the insurance company rejects it.
Yeah.
So if you do it with a phone call, the person that's doing it can get several of them collected
Right.
that way,
No,
believe it or
I
not.
agree.
The other thing is that you really should take a good hard look at is, it's worth having a company do the billing as well as collect this debt. For the simple reason, if they're doing the billing, they can watch and see when one is getting up to a point where it's gonna be a debt, bad debt, they can get on it right then and there, rather than let it lapse a longer time.
Mhm. I see this is a potential for looking at as we do our public safety study over the next few months, is how to recognize these collections and get some recommendations. So I think the question is, do we want to do something in the interim? Because I think your point is well taken.
And I will say, the one person that, this was brought to my attention, and Dennis Fairbank and Dennis Bartlett asked me if I would give them a hand to try to figure out a solution. When we brought in Dave Goulding's wife, which does this, she sat with us and went over a lot of this stuff, and she really had a lot of information that, I mean, she does this for doctors.
Mm-hmm.
the advantage she has is, a lot of it also has to do with medical terminology.
Yep.
On the billing, which is what she is familiar with, where some of these other companies that are just doing the billing aren't that familiar with it.
No, I agree, and I guess that's one of the reasons, I mean, I know that that possibility was put out there.
Yep.
One of the reasons why I wanted to get a little more detail coming back in terms of the compensation. What is it, you know, I mean,
Right.
because it wasn't my understanding that we were contemplating, you know, hiring somebody who would actually go to court and stuff like that,
No.
but more somebody who would administratively
Exactly.
chase
You
the
really
bills.
don't wanna get in
Which-
truthfully to somebody that's going to court.
So you're not
because
talking about
we went
signing
through-
it and
we
getting
went through
payment up
that
front
route years
and
ago.
factoring, none of that stuff. So,
It's not worth it.
yeah, so that means, you know, compensation would be, it seems to me, on the lower end
Exactly.
of that. So I wanted to get that information. And if, in fact, we could reasonably expect that on, what is it, about $60,000 worth, you know, we need to see where that fits on this framework,
Mhm.
and then decide what we're gonna
You
do.
need help?
When we invite her in.
Sure.
She's more than willing, I mean, she's a very intelligent person, like
Yeah.
I say, she does doctors in Mass and Connecticut. Rhode
Or, I
Island.
mean, you know, Mary could just get that information from her as well. I mean, what's the basis of
Well, I
how
think
much
if
she
you
wants
had
to
her
bill?
come in, you'd be able to really.
Yeah, I'd
That's
like to have her sitting
negotiable,
here.
it's not, you know what I mean, sometimes you,
I understand, I wanna know
That's
what
right.
her initial,
do you want her to give you a written proposal, like a little?
yeah, with the
come in and
initial
talk.
proposal, but come in and talk to us.
Yeah,
But I think
yeah.
we need to know what her initial expectation, obviously, we can talk.
Okay.
And
But
she
right now,
might
we
turn
don't
around
really
and
know
tell you
anything.
that some of those older ones are still worth chasing, believe it or not.
Next meeting?
If you only collected a percentage of those older ones, it's worth doing.
It's been languishing a long time, if, you know, we
Mhm.
can just check it off.
Yeah, no, I think
Let's
it's
do
fine,
it,
so
yeah.
let's get her in, see what the proposal is for billing, see how it matches against those benchmarks for having to
Mhm.
go out, and then take it from there.
Mhm.
Next meeting, if she's available? The 11th,
That's the 11th of
Monday the
August.
11th, yep, of August,
Yeah, that's okay,
Good.
okay.
yeah. All right,
Good.
okay. Next, a discussion regarding Bullard House renovation project process.
Progress.
Progress, or process.
I called Barry on it and asked him, told him that after talking to Larry, I didn't get quite the same message as he. Maybe there's a misinterpretation, but offered that he, and I think more than just him, some more of that commission should go on it. And Bob Howarth, who builds post and beams and is putting in Jerry's stand down here, said he'd be willing to spend time looking at it, giving advice.
Mhm.
And I just think it needs, frankly, my experience with the commission and, well, I just would like to see more eyes on it.
Yeah, I
in
thought
the
we discussed this
decision-making.
last time.
Yeah.
So do we have a date?
Well, I'm trying to set one up, like, you know, it's like pulling teeth that, I think he just dug his heels in, but maybe Sunday morning would be bad for you, would they? How about an evening?
Evenings are fine, Sunday afternoon, because during the summers, I go down to
Sure,
the
I
vineyard,
know,
but
that's
I
what I
get,
thought,
I
yeah.
get back, most Sundays, I get back by about 1:30, so I could do something on an afternoon on a Sunday. I can do something during the week generally, if I have a
Sure.
week and a half's notice, because I
Yeah.
I can work from home, but if it's a day or two's notice, it gets hard
Get
for
a
me.
date from you, number one.
Okay,
Larry will accommodate it, and then I'll talk to Howard, get the four of them and let Barry know, and I'll make sure it doesn't conflict with his calendar somehow, and then
Okay.
just get the commission members. All right, it'll get done that way.
Okay.
Because it just, that should have been done years ago. We could have.
okay. Fair enough. Just looking at the calendar here. So we are now at the, this week is already gonna be a little
Sure.
tough for me.
Right.
So, but I could, I could do something on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, which would be the 5th and 6th of August. Can I give you those two dates? And
Sure.
if those don't work,
Yep,
we'll try it again. As I say, I
All right.
generally need to know a little bit more than
Yep.
a week ahead of time, so
yep,
I don't have all kinds of meetings scheduled.
yep. What is the 5th and 6th, or what days, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, okay, no, I'll have Conservation Commission on Tuesday, on Wednesday night.
I can do it during the day. I'm
Oh.
trying to give you,
Oh, okay,
I was giving
Great.
you times that I could do it
Great.
during the day.
okay.
Do you need a meeting posted?
We will need to post a meeting, and that has to be done 48 hours?
Yep.
Yeah.
If we're just asking, you and I won't be discussing it, we'll be listening.
We should probably post it,
You'll
just,
still be there as a quorum, so you need to
and we need
post
to
it.
know, I need to know it's,
Yeah.
when it's happening more than 48 hours ahead of time if we're doing it
Mhm.
during the day, so we might as well just post it.
All right, I'm
Not
not
nailed
against
down
it.
yet?
Yeah, so why don't you try to get
Sure,
people together, 5th or 6th,
alrighty.
and, yeah, let me know, and again, sooner rather than later,
All right.
because, you know, as they get closer, people
So you
start
need to let Mary know
Yes,
too, so she
please.
can post it.
Sure.
Yeah, we figured we'd do that.
Okay.
All right,
Done.
okay. The next. As Acting Personnel Committee, discussion regarding sick hour calculation.
I just think there's back and forth between the assessor and the accountant on how you calculate.
Okay, I just re-looked at the bylaws. It doesn't say anything about prorating, just a regular scheduled day is determined by dividing regularly scheduled hours for the week by 5 and rounding to the nearest 1/2 hour. We've always done it as 10 days or 2 weeks.
The issue is it's not so easy when everyone's not a full-time employee, everyone's part-time, so you're doing it on days, which aren't really a uniform unit, or hours, or even Larry, for example, doesn't have a uniform set of days. Friday's an 8-hour day, but the other days are a shorter day, 4-hour day.
Yeah, so basically, the debate is a sick day for somebody whose hours are less than 8,
Per day.
per day,
Mhm.
is it the number of hours they work per day? It equals a sick day.
Do you
In other words, a sick
prorate it?
day
Yeah.
described in hours, if you work 4 hours a day, a sick day is 4 hours of pay. Is that right? Is that what we're
I
talking-
actually,
Is that what people are talking about here?
there's 3 different interpretations on how to define a sick day. I'm not very well versed on all of them. I thought maybe Diane actually might still be here if you wanted to hear from her.
What is this about?
I
Is this
don't know what it's
between
about.
the
Well, why is
accountant?
this, why are we going back and forth on this right now?
Because at the beginning of the fiscal year.
I mean, did we just start doing this?
No,
Calculating
no,
sick days?
I guess the argument's been percolating for years, and
So how are we doing it now?
the
My feeling is,
interested parties
we
are-
should do it the way we have been doing it, unless
It's
somebody
not
wants to
uniform.
come in here and explain.
Yeah,
It's not uniform between the departments.
it's not being uniformly applied between the departments. June asks for clarification, and as soon as possible at the beginning of a fiscal year, because untangling it, if there was a definitive decision in the middle of the fiscal year, is hard to tease it all out again. Other than that, that's the best I can give you. But there's.
Maybe we should ask June to
Okay.
tell us
Because here's, I mean, and, you
what the
know,
problem is.
here's what I'm hearing, okay, is basically, what Diane is saying is that a full-time employee who works 5 8-hour days, 40 hours per week, gets 10 days, 80 hours of sick time, okay? A part-time employee who works 4 5-hour days, okay, so 20-hour week, gets 5 days, 50 hours. A part-time employee working 4 6.25-hour days, 25 hours, gets more than the 20-hour person. Okay? So they're basically, you know, she basically defines it by the number of hours in somebody's,
Week.
in somebody's day, basically.
Yeah, some people don't have the same day though every day. Larry, for example, is one that just comes to mind. There may be others who doesn't have. a
And what
uniform
June
day.
says is a regularly scheduled day is determined by dividing regularly scheduled hours for the week, and this is regularly scheduled hours, for the week by 5 and rounding to the nearest 1/2 hour. We've always done it as 10 days or 2 weeks. When I was 20 hours, it was 40 hours of sick time.
Do we have something about sick time in the personnel
Well, that's
bylaws?
what she appears to be quoting here.
So that's, to me, is what we should be going by.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just make up your own.
No, and what I didn't realize was there was an inconsistency. I'm like, you know,
Why
this is
would,
not
how can it
something
be
we.
inconsistent? The law is the law. Why can it be
Well, I guess
inconsistent?
what we're saying is that one department is doing it differently than other departments.
Okay.
And I was asking you before, why, I mean, we've been doing sick time for
Right,
years,
right,
but
sure.
why is this an issue? You know that?
Dennis, in a different but somewhat related vein, wants some kind of clarification of what comp time means.
Okay. We'll do that another night.
I know, I'm just saying it's bigger than one, maybe sit down.
Vacation, personal day, sick leave.
Okay.
Accrual. Sick leave shall be taken in 1 hour. No, that's-
Yeah, 1 hour increments.
Policies like that on our website.
Oh, here it is, right there.
Okay. Shall accrue. Okay. A regularly scheduled day determined by dividing regularly scheduled hours per week by 5 and then rounding to the nearest hour. That's very clear.
Okay.
All right. I think we can go back and say
All
to
allowed.
June and to Diane that what June quotes here is
The personnel bylaw.
is correct.
Diane's in disagreement with it.
She had done it a slightly different way. But I think that what June has is definitely what's in the bylaw, so. Okay.
So to say employees shall be credited with 10 days of sick leave at the start of each fiscal year.
That's not the part we're talking, yes, 10 days, right, which is a certain number of hours.
Because a day isn't defined in here with a certain number of hours.
Well, it is, when you get to the next sentence,
One day from now till next week, 10 days leave.
by dividing regularly scheduled hours for the week by 5.
I see.
That's how you define a day.
That's where Diane and her are swerving, but I'm
Yeah,
not.
but that's.
Yeah, I
that's-
hear you.
Yeah, they say it's a day, how you calculate a day, because you're paid for really sick hours, is what you accrue. And basically, they say that you know, by doing a day, you take your regular scheduled hours for the week, you divide by 5,
And round to the nearest.
and
half
round
hour.
to the nearest half. Okay?
Mm.
And that's what a sick day is in hours. Okay?
I will advise.
All right. Approval of MACC letter to
It's
new.
not in there.
Okay, I thought we had done that.
No, you had approved of the idea of signing the letter, and I need to get it on the letterhead.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
then we had no working computers today.
okay. No, so then, we've already approved this, it's just somebody has to sign it. I thought we approved it.
Yeah, I think you did, and this needs to be put on
Yeah.
letterhead.
I was pretty certain.
I
Are you
think we
pretty
did.
certain about that?
I was.
Oh, good.
Is it in the minutes?
It would be from, not last Monday, but the meeting before that.
Well, I mean, let's just to be sure. We had discussed previously and may have previously approved.
You did.
Signing the MACC letter to New England governors expressing concern over the pipeline project. Can we ratify that vote at this time?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That way we know we're covered. All right. Okay, discussion of,
Well, on that, I mean, Walter had his meeting today. Do you want,
Oh, yeah, what happened at that meeting today?
Okay, well, it was a good meeting, actually. 12 people showed up. There were 4 legislators, and there were representatives of 3 congressmen. Nikki Songus, McGovern, Jim McGovern, and, the other congressman. Anyway, the reps were Kate Hogan, Hank Norton, Danielle Greek-Orr, and Flanagan. And representatives of the town of Bolton, Berlin, and Boylston. And I said, instead of getting into a discussion of all the engineering aspects like you've been at the hearings, we've been all through this, there's no need to do that. Assume that it can be engineered. What should we be doing? And we all unanimously agreed that the approach should be to try and slow the thing down. They're trying to push it through, and there's rumors out there that there are other companies looking to put supply lines into Massachusetts, and so everybody's rushing around, and our approach is going to be to call for a comprehensive energy assessment needs for not only Massachusetts, but see if the New England governors would work together on that. So we're looking at the big picture and looking at everything from conservation and all alternatives before we approve this. And there's a lot of CLF is on the side that they don't think we need the gas because there are other
CLF, I'm
better
sorry,
ways of
is-
doing it. So, but
CLF means?
Conservation Law
Oh, okay.
Foundation, sorry.
Gotcha.
But the thing is to slow it down first, so we're looking.
Was CLF there?
No, they
Okay.
weren't there. But a bunch of legislators had filed a bill in March, actually, to do just that, to urge Patrick to do a comprehensive study, because they knew this pipeline was coming. So we're looking to endorse that and get copies of that, see what the status is of that. Given the legislature is about to close for the year, it's highly unlikely the thing will pass at this time. But anyway, that's where we're working, and
The resolution to call for the study.
for the study, for a comprehensive approach to our energy needs.
Okay.
And that's about it. And it was an hour meeting, went very well, everybody was happy, and if there's a need to call another one before summer's over, we'll do it. If not, you know.
So
see
with the
what-
legislature going out of session, really nothing's gonna happen.
That's right. To be quite blunt about it.
Okay?
I mean, it's just frustrating because they're gonna keep moving ahead
I know it.
and we're just gonna be, putting signs out and,
Yeah. Yeah, which won't do any good. I think the important thing is to get to the governor and figure out how to lobby him. Somebody from Conservation Law Foundation will be calling me at the end of the week. She was in Washington at a meeting that's dealing with the bill. So I'll just keep you posted. I've got all the emails here. We're gonna get things set up, keep everybody posted. I'll put you on it.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for hosting that.
Oh, well, the town hosted it, but it was good. Bob, they're good guys. All of them were good, good questions. And Nikki Songus' aide there in particular was pretty sharp. Really
Good.
knew what he was doing.
All right. Okay, we now have a discussion from FAC regarding,
You skipped over the Mass Works.
oh, I did?
13.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yep.
Is there anything to discuss?
Just the 14 bid packages were pulled, and it looks like of those 14 companies that pulled bid packages, 10 are on the pre-approved state list. So there's looks like some interest, and that opens Wednesday morning here. I think it's at 11 a.m.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's good
9.
news.
9.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
All right.
11, yep, here.
Anything else on that? A discussion of fiscal year 16 budget issues for the August 19th FAC. And this came from you, Mary?
Actually came from Dennis Fairbay, just asking all the different cost centers to think about looking ahead to the next year. So I just said that, it's whatever you all decide, but at one of the last recent FAC meetings, they noted the copiers aren't on there, nor the phone system, for not just fiscal 16, for at all, like you projected out 5 years.
Yeah.
It's not on a long-range capital planning.
And, I mean, this also brings to mind, I mean, neither are computers.
Correct.
And we've certainly had, I mean, some of these computers.
We could sell on eBay
Yes.
for historic reasons.
Jeez.
Well, he would disagree with you, but probably yes.
So I do think that as part of, the budget process this year, we need to, and I don't think this necessarily needs to reside with the data coordinator, because we're really talking about capital expenditures. And I think we probably need to have a couple meetings that we need to look at, yes, these items, but I think we also need to look at, sort of computers and printers and get a reasonable, replacement.
If you coordinated all your printer, then you could coordinate all of the cartridge buying. You could get better deals by buying them in bulk versus somebody having a inkjet and somebody having a laser jet, and I don't know what else they have around here. So it makes sense.
I mean, we probably don't have a huge volume of stuff, but yeah, I think that's just having a little more uniformity is probably a good idea in terms of people who are keeping them up and all of that, So.
Well, maybe we can, I didn't really look at, when is this for, August 19th?
Yeah.
So
You're gonna
there's
meet
one
before
more
then.
meeting before then, so maybe we can talk about, or
What's
we
the
can all
next
think
agenda?
about the next agenda.
And I do think, I mean, I think at this point, if we indicate an interest in this, an interest in building it into the budget process through the next budget cycle, I mean, that's an indication. We don't have to have a plan by August 19th, but we
Well,
have to
yeah.
look at it for,
Just even the words, just the bullet words, just that they
Mhm.
appear on.
Yeah. That makes sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Makes sense to you?
So, we have the committee work, they met today. Who was meeting today, Mary? Who met today down there in the IT?
That wasn't a meeting, that was crisis management. We've not had
Oh.
email all weekend.
Oh,
The public safety has not had email.
You're
Oh,
jumping
gosh.
ahead to the next
Oh,
agenda item.
no,
And I was
that-
gonna
no.
ask you to send me an email about it because.
No, this agenda was built before the weekend-long crash of email.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
or
the
otherwise it probably
website
wouldn't be
And the
printed.
internet use for
Yeah.
town offices, that's separate, that's just the ongoing saga. This weekend, even for dispatching, everyone to get to the house fire, my understanding the dispatchers didn't have use of their typical method would be paging, but that's charter-based too. So, I don't know if they did it by radio, I'm not sure how they actually got the message out to people in the end.
And what was the cause, do we know? What
No,
was the
I
cause of the
don't.
interruption?
I heard there's no reporting to this office because that's not how they see fit. So, but people come to my office asking for updates. I had heard though that there needs to be a router replaced, and that Charter told the dispatchers that the soonest they'd be out here was Wednesday. When I pulled up here tonight, I saw a Charter truck driving away, and I do have some emails that have now populated my inbox. It could be that it's fixed now. I know that Dan came in earlier and said that's not adequate, we're not waiting until Wednesday, and Briley was involved too. But when that, for the entire workday today, I had received no emails after 2:12 on Friday afternoon. So I didn't have an opportunity.
Okay, so this wasn't, because I know we did have some momentary, in some areas of town, we had a momentary interruption of power on Sunday, so I was.
When Bill Tomasino's house was being struck by lightning.
Oh, really?
But I'm not sure how
It
that's
was on
related.
fire.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was, it was a violent storm.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if it had a
No,
connection
yeah.
with that, or,
But I didn't have anything since Friday afternoon
Yeah,
at
that-
2:12,
so that
so
seems
I'm
like-
not sure what's,
yeah.
Well, Judy, you're chairing a committee is gonna address this?
Well, this committee can't address what's happening currently, but it's supposed to
Yeah.
be coming up with futures and what we want it to look
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I mentioned to you last meeting, but if you're interested for a new face, somebody that hasn't come in with any previous, preconceived ideas or anything, Mark Burton, who lives right across from the school down there, I talked to him about it, and he said, he won't charge anything, and he's hired all over the state and New England to go and fix computer systems and hardware, software. If you want him to attend, he'd attend a few. If it doesn't work out, he won't attend anymore, but he might be able to add something. It's up to you if you think you want.
Okay.
He's very technically and, skilled with computers and systems of computers.
Okay.
All right.
So before we go to miscellaneous, can I just bring up a subject? Since we're at the end here. So I got a call today from a solar developer
Mhm.
in the solar division of First Wind, who's done 4 large projects already in Massachusetts. They sell power to UMass. So he's interested in siting a project in Berlin at the POTUS property.
Yes.
He had some zoning questions and he wanted to know the town's interest in buying energy from them. So before I called him back, I went through again the our zoning bylaw, which is here.
Mhm.
And the state's zoning bylaw, which is chapter 48, section 3. Now, I believe the planning board told him already that he's not in the
Proper zone.
proper zone.
Mhm.
Do we want to stick with that, I guess is my question. That's our solar bylaw.
Mhm.
I'd be in favor of looking into it, and if there's, it's like another court review, looking at it, because it would be a good thing for them. It'd be good for might be good for some land protection up there too,
You mean putting it in?
Yeah, putting it in, and if there's any extra land, we'd be interested in protecting that, but.
So right now, our large-scale solar bylaw is in, I highlighted it in the back, limited commercial?
yeah.
Limited industrial.
Limited
Yeah.
industrial.
Which is what the pit is down there on River Road.
So yeah, Tim Wheeler's is in that, and is it the yellow ones over there? Limited in, so,
Yeah.
it's anything in the yellow.
Yellow's limited business.
Is there
Yeah.
limited industrial on there?
That's purple.
Okay, so it's the
Yeah.
purple areas.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's it.
And that's it. But that's only for systems that are greater than 250
Kilowatts.
kilowatts.
And what are they asking?
Same size roughly, Diane said. Rough, give
Same
or
size
take.
as,
Tim.
Indian heads,
which is way more than that.
20 acres.
Way more than that.
Their land is larger than that, but Diane thought the size of the system would be about the same.
Well, I guess my question is, what should I say to him? He's been turned down by the planning board because he's not in the right zoning.
Ask town council to take a quick look at it.
All right,
Yeah, and see if that's consistent with chapter 48.
yeah, I mean, they talk in this about solar energy facilities generally can't be prohibited as landowners are allowed to have them pursuant to the exemption. In those communities lacking a bylaw ordinance regulating solar facilities, a landowner would simply apply for a building permit. However, this is far from ideal as it places both the applicant and the building inspector in a tenuous position.
The key words there, lacking a bylaw?
And we have, yeah, so
Yeah.
we have a bylaw. So the DOER strongly encourages communities to adopt zoning bylaws regulating exempt solar facilities that are justified based on and very carefully crafted to protect public health, safety, or welfare. Because large-scale solar facilities, such as those intended for commercial electricity generation, are most likely to impact public health, safety, or welfare. So that's one of the reasons that they want green communities to have a bylaw.
Mhm.
But that's all the,
You might even try calling somebody in the executive office of Energy and Environment in the Energy Division, whoever I don't know who the Undersecretary of Energy is, but that person might know something right off the
you
top
know,
of
I
their
think
head.
I'll call our green communities liaison and ask her
There you
who
go.
she would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick read of this suggests that you can have a zoning bylaw that limits, if you don't, you're wide open.
Yeah.
But if you do, the limits are okay under the state zoning bylaw. That's what I'm reading now. I had to actually taken, because you'd given that to me, and I read it on the train last week. And that's what it sounded like to me.
So then,
So your feeling is not, as long
They would have to you'd have to rezone the area.
Okay, we do have a bylaw in place, so
We
that.
do have a
okay,
bylaw
so
in
we
place.
have
It
a
is
role,
limited
yeah.
industrial.
Okay, yeah.
And you would have to rezone, you'd either have to rezone limited industrial.
Yeah.
The land,
Mhm.
or you would have to say, you know, that it was allowable with special permit
Mhm.
in residential agricultural, under certain
Yeah.
constraints. So you have to, it looks like either rezoning of land or amending of zoning bylaw, and it looks like the state law contemplates local regulation.
Would it be all right if I talked to Don and the idea, I mean, maybe he wants to go for rezoning in exchange for donating land or something around there?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen, you know, with the malls and everything,
Right,
rezoning votes for
right,
certain purposes,
right,
and that's the
right.
process for that.
Right.
The other alternative is to go to the planning board to look for an amendment of
Mhm.
the zoning bylaw that would it would either create a special zone or
Right.
allow it under special
Yeah.
permit, or, yeah.
do you wanna call this gentleman back?
Yeah, I'll call him, sure. 'Cause
If he
it's-
wants to talk about selling us power, he can call me.
Okay, all right, thanks.
All right.
I will, yeah, there was another person, though, that approached me before. Chris Slade approached me last year for land up behind Every Dorks, up in that big vast area between Highland Street and Coben Road. In fairness, yeah, okay, well, I'll call this guy first, sure.
Okay. All right, let's go through the miscellaneous. I have a couple. Judy, I don't know if you'd seen this, a good energy.
Nope.
It's municipal energy aggregation, which means nothing to me.
It's the same thing that the Hampshire councils do too. So they get a bunch of towns together and do mass buying of power.
Mhm.
I haven't seen that one. I'll
You want to
it.
take that for your energy committee?
Good energy, huh?
Okay. We have the deed here, for, the 1.44 acres on Lancaster Road
Mhm.
in the custody and control of the Selectmen.
I stopped and told him that we're ready to talk anytime he wants to call. He hasn't called yet.
Okay. All right. I'll note that 4 towns were awarded green community grants. Berlin was one of them, right?
You missed this one.
I didn't have any interest in seeing
Okay.
it. So, but if somebody else does, sure.
Okay.
So anyway, 120,692. That was in the Worcester Telegram. We've filed an answer with the DEP on the municipal water supply for this building and are awaiting a response. Any other? Okay. Any other, any others that people are interested in?
Mary, did we get letters from, giving us the right of first refusal on?
Yes,
from-
yes,
Well, we want to act on that. That
That's
should be on
correct.
here.
that's correct.
What are we dealing with here?
It's for Steve
That came in
Benson
today's
is
mail.
selling selling 7 acres on Sawyer Hill Road, that was bought after you owned the original farm, and the Conservation Commission feels that we wouldn't want to compete with building prices anyway. Well, 2 things. We don't want to compete with that, and whatever they can get out of that leaves our money, or anything we can do to help serve the real farm, the good agricultural land.
Mhm.
But also in that, there's a question, if they, a bona fide offer, must be a bona fide offer. What they're doing is saying they'll pay based on perk test, that they,
Yes, we've dealt with this before.
so how'd that happen?
And we basically said, this is all well and good,
Yeah,
but we need to have a money offer
yeah,
in order to refuse it.
okay. If, could the Conservation Commission?
However,
Yeah.
I mean, that's our right.
Right, okay,
If we feel like without knowing price or anything, and
Yeah.
we can insist on that.
yeah,
And we did in another case because we had a feeling that somebody was trying to, yank land out from underneath us.
Yeah, yeah.
But in this case, if we just have no interest in it,
yeah.
and the price really isn't a concern, then yes, I think we have the ability to waive
Well, that
the
would
right
be
of
good,
first
because
refusal.
frankly, even if it gets down to one house lot, which would be worth close to a couple $100,000, we wouldn't, it's isolated out there. We'd have nothing directly across the street from it, and we
Yeah, and I
just
see
wouldn't
here
put our
there
money
there is a price range, and you're talking about 75 to 100,000.
per lot.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Okay? Depending upon
yeah,
perk rates.
yeah.
So, you would like us to take a vote at this point, is that?
I would, yeah, because we'll vote on it for sure next Wednesday and get it done so that they can move along with that process up there, trying to protect the farm.
I would be willing to accept a motion to waive the town's first right of refusal on the 7 acres on Great Oak Farm that were the subject of this notice, conditional upon the Conservation Commission's subsequent vote to also refuse.
So move.
Second.
I like the way you phrase this out, so I don't have to come up with it myself. You know, it's just.
Well, you had the thought, but, okay.
That's- yeah.
So any further discussion on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Then hearing none, I will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mary, I'm gonna sort of lay that, I'm gonna put that in the appointments file, just so it doesn't
Okay,
get
so it's more obvious, yep,
lost.
that's
Yeah.
good, thanks.
In the miscellaneous, okay. We have a note here, dated Thursday, July 17th from Rick Merrill, and it indicated that,
That's where I got that information that he says odor is not added to the line. That's not
he
what
said
this-
that we specifically asked that question, and they
That's
said
right.
otherwise, so that's, you
This
know.
is an unsolicited, this guy's emailing apparently other towns.
I
saying that-
read somewhere that the gas goes through the pipe for so long that the odor will dissipate, and that,
But they're both right, I don't know.
well, no, he said quite clearly at that
Yeah.
meeting that there was
We did
odor
ask
in
about
it.
that,
Mhm.
yep. Okay. Any other
How about M,
M?
the building
Yeah.
inspector regarding inspector monthly time
Okay.
sheets?
They're coming, but they're not done yet.
So they haven't handed any in.
They haven't hit, Henry says he's handwritten his, but he has not put it into a form yet.
If you really were up to speed with what was happening, you'd have said he emailed it.
Uh-huh, wow.
Mm.
You have to have working email for that,
And you'd have to have a computer that you could log on
Yeah,
to.
Yeah.
okay,
one step at a time.
all right. Okay, so we're still waiting on this.
How about T,
T,
Central Mass Regional Planning, email EMS pooled purchasing?
I pass that on to fire, rescue, the school, even for their school nurse, police, if they had any interest in it. Bandages and everything else that they would possibly need.
okay,
What's the email for Criterion 3 guidance documents for green community?
here we go.
Oh, how you would gauge that 20% energy savings?
Oh, it's at the end of the year instead of the
Yeah, end of
beginning.
year
Okay,
six
Oh, yeah, I
instead of
saw
5
that.
or
I
something.
read that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Berlin Police Department incident reports. Should talk about house break-ins.
That isn't what that
No.
collection is about. That's about complaints about Berlin Auto Parts. I think a selectman.
Oh,
should
yes.
I
ask
read
for
that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so that, from the beginning of the calendar
did
year.
I get that forwarded? 'Cause
I believe I forwarded them. I scanned them and forwarded them to everybody, I believe.
Okay, so
There were
that's,
basically 8 complaints since November.
One of them wasn't from Mr. Cho, one of them was from another neighbor.
Yeah. Mostly choke, and then, but there was one where,
That's from the beginning of the calendar year, it's from January
Right.
1.
but there was an interesting one where Vaughn Thompson called the police to come back and view video of the opening, where it was claimed that a trailer truck had been parked there for 10 minutes idling, and the video showed that it clearly wasn't 3 minutes, which was
It's
acceptable.
under the 5-minute
And the truck
threshold.
was, backed in, so there was that. And then there was one, something about the complainer was rather rude and harsh to the, what is?
This dispatcher, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I thought reading them, the problem with how we have him doing that is, he calls, but it's what you saw in the video, you don't really know how long it's been going on, because you can't ask him to call when the truck is first there, because they'd be up there all the time when trucks were coming in,
Right.
so unless you had video or something, you really don't have a good timeline on how long it's been there. Gotta get your critter can.
I don't
I think
know.
Vaughn does have that.
Did you get those
Critter
pictures
cam.
I sent you? You know, when I clicked on it, I said, she's seen them already out here in the hall. I forgot that.
That's okay, I showed them to my husband. Oh, so he wanted to know if that deer was there because of the coyotes, or because you put it
No, it's a
there?
roadkill. The police call
Okay.
me once in a while if they got a roadkill. It was too old, it'd been too gone by to save neat process, so I just use it for bait, set my camera up.
So that's all in the back of your house?
Yeah, down behind, 100
Wow.
yards or so down the
so we
woods.
have 6
Total, right?
total.
6 total?
There, yeah, that Tom gave me last week,
Okay, what did I say, 8?
yeah.
Yeah. I was so careful to count them too.
Okay.
One thing that somebody called me on, and I only get a letter to the board as a whole, but the junk business, which is supposed to be incidental, is far from incidental, I guess. The amount of cars going up and down there on a Saturday is quite incredible. That should be, you know, that, I mean, Choate does have a bit of a point where it was put there after the driveway was moved up there after he built his house. And then this secondary thing of bringing in junk instead of just autos is taken off, and there's quite a load of it. I bring up stuff myself. And there's always 2 or 3 cars. I have to wait. It's hard to turn around in there. Quite a bit of traffic.
Okay. Well, having these reports, I guess,
Is there something going on with this again?
well, there was some discussion about bringing people in to talk, and I said I wanted to see this report, these series of reports.
So this was triggered by Berlin Auto Parts request for a Quonset hut on the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part
okay.
of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess what I'm seeing here is 6 events, and 6 events that appear to be at least somewhat debatable as to
Right.
how long something was there and so on. Not hugely helpful.
Are we supposed to be weighing in on this Quonset hut, or?
No,
Oh,
before the zoning board of appeals.
okay.
It's for anyone to weigh in, I guess. At their August meeting.
I guess I'm not seeing a huge and continuing problem here. We're talking about 6 over, according, over 8 months or so, and a couple of them at least appear to be, debatable or false alarms. So I'm not seeing a real,
So-
at least in the police reports.
Yeah. Outside of the police reports, are complaining about the noise related to the recycling operations there.
Yeah, well, that's stuff for the ZBA to deal with, yeah,
Okay. But,
as they
whatever it is.
look at that. Okay.
They're not necessarily copied on that, though. That came to the selectman's office, I believe.
What?
The original complaint from Mr. Choate, the most recent one saying that he promised that he would be fighting the, I don't think the zoning board of appeals was even copied on
Well,
that.
we issued a license for the
We do.
place, so that's why it came to us at first.
I don't know that the
I
zoning
would
board of
forward
appeals
that
knows the
along to
history.
ZBA.
Yeah, forward that to them.
Yeah, forward it to ZBA. Okay. All right. We, anything else to do in open session? I think we're through. Did anybody else have anything on miscellaneous they want to talk about?
I have, the fire truck is now on municipal bid.
Okay,
And it closes September 8th. We'll vote on it if we get a bid on September 8th.
okay. Okay,
Don't know what else there is to say about that.
all right. Okay. Anything else in open
No.
session? Anything else in open session?
Nope.
All right. Then I would request a vote to go into executive session,
Only what I emailed you guys on Friday.
which is,
So I did a 41-hour week last week, and I do have a
Oh.
need this week to take some time off. And I'm mindful that the office can't be closed for 2 days, but I'm thinking Wednesday might be the day I need to take, if that's okay as a comp time request.
I didn't have a problem.
I don't have a problem with
I don't.
Okay,
that. Okay,
thank you.
anything else? All right, then I accept a vote to go into executive session for contract negotiations update on contract negotiations with Sun Edison Pilot, and if applicable, any Maplewood Farm litigation update. To go into executive session, Andrew, I,
Whom and I,
Pickford, aye.
and the board will not be returning to open session after executive session. Yeah, sure.
I'll get the door.
Well, actually, let me take a